Welcome. Let's settle for the details. The NIA governing board has condemned the leadership of aggrieved staff, describing their actions as a deliberate hate campaign against Professor Atefua. Nearly 1,000 NIA staff members petitioned the president on July 1, demanding the removal of Executive Secretary Professor Kenneth Atefua, alleging violations of labor laws, poor governance and selective recruitment practices. However, on July 5th, the governing board rejected a petition stating that it misrepresented Professor Atefua's dedication and was unwarranted. We do have someone joining us via Zoom who is in the person of the Divisional Council Chairman of the NIA staff, Francis Bangfui. Mr. Francis, thank you very much for joining us. I hope I got your name right. How do you react to this statement from the board?
All right, thank you very much, and good evening to all our cherished listeners. First of all, we even doubt the authenticity of the said statement. Why? Because a message purported to be coming from the board ought to have been signed and sanctioned by the board chairman. You cannot have a board subcommittee chairperson whose name is even unknown in the said document purported to be conveying a message for and on behalf of the board. However, granted without admitting that it is the sanction of the board. These are our preliminary observations and comments to it. Factually, if you look at the petition that we have submitted to the President, His Excellency the President, the first item under unfair labor practices was on the fact that some staff have been acting without appointment letters and without payment of acting allowances. The said purported document from the board has remained silent to that particular effect, suggesting that that is a clear fact. Now, they have attempted to suggest that our claim that there has been unfair dismissal of staff is untrue, and that the staff involved were involved in extortion of money from applicants. With the greatest of respect, the disciplinary committee reports is there and a document that everyone can make reference to. And if you look at the document and you go to the conclusions of the committee recommendations, the first conclusion was that on the issue of working in concert with a conduit named Danso to register his clients under an unapproved protocol arrangement and to extort money from applicants for Ghana Card, the committee concluded that the facts of the matter and the interviews conducted did not lead it to conclude that Mr. Samuel Dua was part of any extortion scheme at the Subin office. I don't know where exactly the board have gotten that advice from, or whether they read the committee's report and went ahead and sanctioned the executive secretary to dismiss staff when even the committee report were explicit in stating that the investigations did not lead to the conclusion that the staff was involved in any extortion of money. It is his own oral narration and admission that sometimes staff, clients who come to the office, leave them with, say, take this and go and buy lunch. That was the only grounds for which he was dismissed. And for any other, in any case, if the board is now saying that they do not support our petition is baseless and unwarranted, it is neither here nor there. It is neither here nor there. All the issues we have itemized and listed, the unfair labor practices, the absence of conditions of service, the board have also attempted to state that NIA has an existing conditions of service and that they are upgrading it. For how long have they upgraded? For 7 good years, since 2017 to 2024. You have not been able to establish a common document, conditions of service. And you are now telling the Ghanaians that NIA has an existing conditions of service when we claim otherwise. If you go to the said document they are making reference to, the conditions of service document, which is an old document, is very clear. There has been some allowances tabled in there, acting allowances, rent allowances, clothing allowances, transport allowances, and utility allowances. All of these amounts to about some 55 to 70% of allowances. The board has never sanctioned the implementation of these allowances to the staff. Why would they selectively decide to implement the condition of service for only punitive measures. But when it comes to issues of employee remunerations, they decline to implement that part which will enhance or motivate the staff to give out their best. So what are they talking about in this scenario? I do not really want to believe that indeed this document is actually coming from the board. But if it's actually coming from the board, then that must be a serious issue, because the committee's report on this one matters are there for them to study. And if they are now admitting to the public that they actually supervise and sanction that, then it is a serious issue, and civil societies must rise up and know that when the staff of NIA are crying and complaining, there are a series of injustice that is what we are faced with.
Well, Francis, the board in the statement also said that you are deliberately spreading misinformation about the executive secretary, which is the reason there is some level of mistrust for Professor Atefua. What do you say to this?
What is the misinformation? Where they are rather the ones who are misleading the public. They have just read in their statement that at the last ended NLC meeting, that the NLC directed that our conduct was not in tandem with law, and for that matter, we have no right to petition His Excellency the President. Let's be very frank. There is no way NLC will make such ruling. NLC pointed out to them that their claim at that moment of time was not right, and that the case was appropriately placed before them. They should go back, and if they want NLC to address those issues, they should appropriately place those concerns before them. But they cannot hide behind favoring a Salaries Commission and suggest to say that we should not petition His Excellency the President for his removal, we should withdraw it from the public, and then we should not demonstrate against the removal of Professor Atefua. The NLC was very clear, but they have come to mislead the public in their statement that NLC has directed us to withdraw the statement, the petition to the President, and that we should not undertake any such action. Our action is illegal. It's untrue. And NLC is there. You can find out from them. It is unfortunate they can come out publicly and pass such statements. It's unacceptable. And now for us as a union, what is now good for us is that since the board has now come out clearly to say that NIA has existing conditions of service, while we anticipate the new conditions of service to be worked out and to be concluded in the shortest possible time, their statement has sparked widespread agitations among the staff, which is uncontrollable now.
Right.
And why? Because the staff are justified with their actions. They are now asking that all the allowances contained in the old conditions of service, we must demand the payment of them with arrears, since the board has now acknowledged that those things exist in reality.
Right. Francis, thank you very much for your time this evening for the updates. Francis Bangudi is the divisional chairman of the divisional council chairman of the NIA. Moving on, the NPP is mounting a strong defense against the public perception that newly approved vice presidential candidate Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is arrogant. The minister's response to issues of national interest, more recently his response to issues of erratic power supply, drew a lot of backlash and has come to the limelight, fueling the arrogance tag. But Ejapa Mensah, who worked closely with Dr. Opoku Prempeh as a deputy energy minister, says his confidence is mistaken for arrogance.
It's inconsistent with the description of the negativity that is associated with the word arrogance. Because having worked with Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh for 3.5 years, the tag, it's not the man. Indeed, Kofi has articulated extensively the attributes that he knows is associated with him that makes people feel within the context of the Ghanaian environment that he is arrogant. But far from that. But yes, I agree. The commentary needs to be confronted head on in terms of how you then let people get to know that, look, as has been said, when you are assertive in this country, then you're arrogant.
In fact, when you sit on the bus and the driver is misconducting himself and you dare suggest to the driver to be careful, you might get other passengers attack you and say,
that's expected, but that's precisely the reason why you have to speak, okay? Because, look, meaning of arrogance is an attitude of superiority manifested in an overbearing manner or in presumptions, claims, or assumptions.
Yeah, you work with him, he's not overbearing.
We leave members of parliament in the lounge and eat lunch. If he felt superior, I'm not sure he would do that. Napo is a man who has engagements on a constant basis, walks into my office. He calls me bro. If he was superior, he wouldn't do that. He comes to my office to have meetings. When I go to tell him that, look, people have come to engage with him, let them wait in the office, I'm going to come over. He works there. You know, he sits with the Ministry of Energy staff where I work with him to have a regular stories. And I'm not so sure whether if you ask anybody who has worked with him at Ministry of Energy for the past 3.5 years, the attribution that he is arrogant would be what they would attribute to him. Far from that.
We can also hear from physician and political activist Dr. Arthur Kennedy and MP for Cape Coast South constituency, Kweku Ricketts Hagan, who say this perception will go a long way to hurt the party's campaign to remain in power.
Napo shouldn't have made the remarks that he made, both in relation to the Dumso timetable and in relation to the Keita Sea Defense Project. I am very sure that knowing Napo, and I've interacted with him a little bit, in his quiet moments, he would wish he had those words back. Those who want to support him must not try and pretend that those who are making these charges are ignorant. We are all complex people, and we all have faults. Those are some of the faults of Napo, but he does also have strengths. I think that those who seek and promote him will do very well, not just to tell us about his strengths, but to acknowledge that some of these things that he said and done, they were not done the best way possible, and that they would counsel him to do better. President comes from Apejafie. He was even president, and he served in government for longer. I never recall anybody describing President Kufuor as arrogant. So those who do support Napo and wish him well, I think should give him honest perspective so that as a person he can grow.
Humility probably hasn't helped us, but arrogance will not be the alternative. Arrogance will simply not be the alternative.
So you share the view that he will hurt the NPP's tickets?
Napo. You see, and then
on the point of arrogance.
Or humility all comes through communication. And I said, Napo is a friend. He is arrogant. And that is the perception. One thing that troubles me is by the time he made that comment on the energy thing that, you know, he must have known that he's going to be the running mate. That's not too long ago. He either knew or he knew that he was being seriously considered.
And we're suffering under the erratic power.
Yes. Now, people can change their ways when they are looking for something or when they know they are going to get something. Napo is not that type. He was not troubled whether he was going to be a running mate or not. And that one will not prevent him from...
Okay.
And my advice to him is that he will need to tone down in terms of communication.
You're still watching Join NewsPrime with me, Emma Davis. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Welcome. A look at the rest of our stories. GrSNC Ghana recently organized an event to bring together key stakeholders and present the progress of their projects and products. During the event, Legrand expressed their gratitude for the continued support from their stakeholders. They also engaged with attendees, inviting them to share their experiences with Legrand products and to provide suggestions for improvements. Legrand encouraged stakeholders to continue to support the brand, emphasizing the importance of their feedback and collaboration in driving future success. The event highlighted Legrand's commitment to maintaining strong relationships with its stakeholders and ensuring the quality and innovation of its offerings. There's more in this report.
Break time, please.
GrSNC Ghana, a French electrical manufacturing company renowned for its work on significant infrastructural projects, recently held a stakeholder engagement.
Legrand is a French electrical company with subsidiaries in about 90 countries. We have a branch in Ghana which we opened in December 2021, and we've been in existence for about 2.5 years in Ghana. Today's program is just a stakeholder meeting to put all our stakeholders together and also to introduce them to our new products, our next line of actions as well.
During the event, Country Manager Emmanuel Glover-Baini expressed his gratitude to stakeholders, introduced their distributors, and assured them that the company will work hard to meet their demands.
It's been tough, challenging, but with a resilient team and solid partners, backed by all our colleagues worldwide. We believe, though we are not where we want to be now, we've left where we started from and we are heading towards the right direction.
Managing Director for the Gulf of Guinea, Senyin Himvi, highlighted the company's recent successes, key projects, milestones, and future plans in his presentation.
We have PL1 is a low voltage product, and PL2 is wiring devices, and we have a PLC which is the UPS product. Thank you. Project of diagnostic company. What is also interesting here, we have a channel. And for the channel, we have a distributor, we have the consultant, we have the architect, we also have the constructor company. So here for me, we have a drill with a real team, it will be well. So the total line, PL1, PL2, PL6, so I was saying that, okay. Diamond City.
Trainer and technical assistant Frederick Ochrimenta discussed new strategies and initiatives, including Legrand's free training for stakeholders.
From time to time, there's one thing I've noticed, our switches and sockets. Initially, when we started the Legrand business in Ghana, our switches used to be Belanco, now it's Belanco-S, which is an improvement. Legrand solution about Legrand free training for stakeholders. If you look at number one, that is our beautiful training center. Number two was a training that we did for Nova by courtesy of Tricot.
Mechanical and electrical manager at Trazaco, Jacob Kurian, praised Legrand.
The journey with Legrand started 16 years back. And that journey that we started after that incident till now, it has been really good on the quality side as well as the support side.
Administrative and Public Relations Officer Ajua Chumesiwa Frine announced plans for upcoming advertising and publicity efforts.
We are also bringing in a marketing manager for the area. A lot of you have asked me and my colleagues before, what are you doing about advertisement? What are you doing about promotion and all that? There are things in the pipeline, and very soon you will see actions.
The GrSNC Ghana has also implemented strategies to combat counterfeit products in the market, aiming to ensure the delivery of high-quality products to their clients.
Now, habits formed in childhood can last a lifetime. Unfortunately, once these lifestyle patterns are set, they can be incredibly difficult to change. Educating children about healthy living or healthy eating helps reduce the exposure to non-communicable diseases, which is the leading cause of death in the country. My colleague Emmanuel Jivanu brings you the story of two young friends from Taifa St. Dominic Basic School who are discovering the importance of making healthier food choices thanks to hope for future generations.
Break time, please.
Pupils of Taifa St. Dominic RC Basic School eagerly rush out of their classroom, excited for a brief escape from their studies.
I enjoyed today's class.
Sedinam Kalan and her best friend, Gloria Boatima, go to the eateries every break to buy food together.
Going to buy fried rice and maybe some carbonated drink.
Their choice of food is often junk and carbonated drinks. It is a routine they enjoy, but little do they know the potential risks they are exposing themselves to. While these meals are tasty, they could be leading them down a path towards non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and cancer, just to name but a few. Although NCDs are more prevalent in adults, the foundation for these diseases can be laid during childhood through exposure to risk factors such as poor diet.